Good morning, good afternoon, and welcome everyone to another CPC strategy hosted webinar. If this is your first time with us, welcome, and we hope to see more of you at future events. If this is not your first time, welcome back, and we're happy to have you here again for another webinar. So, Prime Day 2018, sales spiked, and now deals have ended. Now what? We want to make sure that we keep that Prime Day sales velocity momentum going strong into Q4. But Q4 is also the most competitive time of the year in the Amazon marketplace. So let's take a look at Prime Day insights that we can use as Q4 that can set us up for success. So in this webinar, our speakers will talk through how you can boost your Q4 Amazon sales volume using Prime Day data. So I would like to introduce myself. I'm Annalicia. I'm CPC Strategies Webinar Coordinator, and I will be moderating today's webinar and handling all your questions on the back end. So before we start, let me go into a few logistics. So number one question asked, session recording and slides, will they be sent out? Yes, all our slides and our recording will be sent out to all registrants within 48 hours. And we'll have that online, living online as well. Secondly, I want to point out the questions tab. In the GoToWebinar panel, there will be a tab that says questions. That's where you send your questions to the speakers, and as I mentioned earlier, I'll be handling those on the back end and kind of queuing those up. I will be asking them during the presentation if we need some clarification on anything, but for the most part, I'll leave all questions to the end of the presentation. Also to mention, we have a handouts tab. We have some resources available for download there pertinent to today's topic, so feel free to look at that tab under questions and download any handouts that you think might be useful for you. Lastly, we ask you all to join in on a few poll questions that we have. I'll pitch the first poll question right before we go into the content, kind of getting a feel on who's really looked at their Prime data in the audience today. Then we have one during the content, and then we have one towards the end in respect to an evaluation with CPC strategy and or Skubana. So before we start, I'll briefly introduce CPC strategy as well, and then I'll pass it on over to Chad to introduce Skubana to you all. But for those of you who are unfamiliar with CPC strategy, we are a retail-focused paid search management company, and we focus in the realms of Google Shopping, paid search with Bing and Google, Amazon sales acceleration, creative content optimization, as well as Facebook performance marketing. So we're just about 10 years old, and we have over 500 active retail clients from CPG to apparel and services, and we work full funnel with our campaigns with all of our clients. So now I will pass it on over to Chad, who will introduce Skubana to you all, our co-marketing partner for today's webinar.
Thank you, Annalisa, and thank you so much for facilitating today.
Yeah.
So a little bit about Skubana. So Skubana is an operation platform to run and automate your entire business. It was actually bred by myself. I had a problem. I was selling on 20 different channels, and none of these different platforms talk to each other, and all these disparate solutions out there weren't unified. So we created one operation platform to run your entire business. The problem is if an analyst is using one software and you have an ops person using another software, you have a huge problem. So great commerce business, specifically great e-commerce businesses, require a common language, a unified platform, so they can actually make intelligent decisions. And we are the first platform that actually supports both 3P and 1P sellers.
Great. So now I'll have you introduce yourself as well. Oh, wait, accelerate, really important.
Yes, so before I introduce myself, we have an amazing event coming up on October 3rd in New York. It's really built for sellers by sellers. There's no vendors that are going to be exhibiting to you or talking at you. It's going to be a day of peer-to-peer collaboration. I would say 50% of the audience are disruptive D2C brands. The other 50% are very, very large Amazon retailers. And so stay to the end today because we're going to be giving out a promotion code that we've never given out before for Accelerate. It's only limited to the first 10 merchants, but check your calendars for October 3rd. If you can make it, that'd be amazing. If you want more information, there's a link right there, skubana.com/accelerate.
Great.
And then a little bit about myself, and then I'll pass it over to Karen and Aaron. So again, I'm Chad Rubin. I'm the co-founder of Skubana. I also started Crucial Vacuum very, very early, and we started deploying our resources towards going direct to consumer. This is before private label was really the cool in thing to do. So I started selling vacuum filters across these 20 different channels, and then I had a scaling problem. How do I run my business? How do I automate it? Today, we're doing roughly about 12 million on a very low average selling price, and we're doing roughly about 60,000 orders a month, doing both 3P and 1P under the brand Think Crucial, and I have that business with one employee, and I'm going to talk about a lot of the results from Prime Day today with my own real live figures.
Awesome. My name is Karen Hopkins. I'm a senior marketplace channel analyst here at CPC Strategy. I started working off with 3P sellers, and now I've shifted to working closer with vendors. And I'm super excited to share my experiences and learning from Prime Day this year and how we can utilize that in Q4.
Great. All right. Thanks, Chad and Karen. Again, my name is Aaron Gooden. I'm the lead marketplace channel analyst here at CPC Strategy. So kind of similar to Karen, started off managing most of our 3P and some 1P vendor accounts. But recently I made a transition over to lead marketplace channel analyst, where I support our MCAs on high-level strategy, support on any sort of action items or anything that needs to be done on accounts, but mostly providing high-level strategy to most of our high revenue clients.
Cool, great guys. Thanks for introducing yourselves. So today, just a quick recap of what we're going to go over just before we dive into the content and I launch my first poll question to you all. We'll be going over Prime Day 2018 versus Prime Day 2017, all the insights there, how to interpret your Prime Day data. We'll also be looking into our insights as well about how you at home can look at your data, how to maintain that traffic garnered from Prime Day, analyzing your wins and losses from Prime Day 2018, and then evaluating your returns, your negative feedback, to strategically plan your inventory for Q4. So before we begin this, I'm going to launch a quick poll question just for about 20 seconds, just to get a feel of, who in the audience here today has already started to incorporate some Prime Day data into their Q4 strategy. Just to see what we have out here in the audience, kind of help our speakers tailor maybe their content according to, if you already have started to incorporate your data or not. So I guess I will put the poll to an end now. And I know that our speakers cannot see the results, but I'll be sure to say them out loud. So 30% of our audience, or 31 to be precise, has already started to look at their Prime Day data and incorporate it into their Q4 strategy. That's great, guys. And then we have another 70% who has not started implementing any Prime Day data. So we hope we have some good insights for you all to start implementing into your Q4. So with that, I will pass it on over to Aaron, who will kick off the content for today.
Fantastic. Thanks, Anna. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and talk about Prime Day 2018 versus 2017, guys. Kind of just taking some initial insights and learnings before we go into how you can really apply that to Q4. So just looking at Prime Day, the July 15th through the 16th versus both of those days, you can see about a 49% increase in spend right there, with a 65% increase in impressions, 36% increase in clicks, and sales increasing by 32%. Also, average cost per click increasing by roughly about 10%. So what does all those numbers mean? It basically just means that as Prime Day comes up, it'll be similar to Q4 in that you're going to see an uptick in a lot of traffic on Amazon. So that's going to increase your impressions, spend, and clicks. But also, hopefully, if you've got some pretty great deals on products that have great detail pages, cohesive messaging, and running great ads, then you should see an increase in sales come along with that as well. The increase in average cost per click, usually just because the landscape is going to be a lot more volatile and a lot more competitive. So maybe you were bidding 5 cents, 10 cents, 20 cents on a keyword before. Now you've got everyone who's now trying to go after that same keyword and get their deal served. So that's going to increase the cost per click in just a matter of 24 hours from what we're seeing here. So what's next is what we call the Prime Day or Prime Week hangover. So Prime Week this year was July 15th through the 21st. So we're going to compare Prime Week to post-Prime Week, and you can see a dramatic drop-off right away. Comparing Prime Week to post-Prime Week, there's a 78% decrease in spend. We got an 82% decrease on average in impressions, on average 82% decrease in ad sales, and a 78% decrease in clicks. So what that means is basically you're riding this really, really big high for all of Prime Week, or at least the first initial 2 or 3 days. But once everyone has pretty much exhausted all of that traffic on Amazon, usually the following week, what we've seen on our end is a really sharp decrease in a lot of that traffic. However, those average CPCs are still high. You still see that there is still an increase compared to the previous week of about 1%, just because everyone that had really high bids the week prior still do have high bids, but we're just not seeing as much traffic on Amazon. So everything else will fall except that average cost per click, because that competition is still there, but just the customer base isn't there anymore. Cool. So I'll hand it over to Chad. I know you've got a couple things to talk about.
Yeah, and I just want to put an exclamation mark on that increase of CPC, of the cost per click. It's really important, because, and that's why it's so important to be managing your bids properly, because a lot of Amazon sellers sort of set it and forget it, and that's just not the way to win, specifically around sponsored ads right now in this environment. So just FYI, like, you definitely want to be looking at the numbers at where you're spending money and what's making you the most money and adjusting. And if that's a new benchmark, right, if people are forgetting to actually set their ads, or they're forgetting to actually set their ad budget, or they're the right cost per click, it's a problem. And it's challenging for myself too, as an e-commerce seller, where sort of the new benchmark is set, and then suddenly, like, what am I going to do after the new benchmark is set, because it becomes unprofitable. So just something to think about as we go through these numbers today.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's a great point, Chad. And just to even piggyback on that, definitely that's something that I saw myself as well with a lot of the sellers that I work with, and I know Karen's seen the same thing, where you have to get in there and basically you have a new normal established as your average cost per click that you're now optimizing to from Prime Week. So you're looking at average cost per clicks to decrease as far as maybe 2 or 3 weeks out from Prime Week to kind of get back to where they were the week before Prime Week.
Yeah, and anticipating the higher average CPC, we've seen some clients take budget from the months leading up to Prime Day and utilizing that for Prime Week, Prime Day itself. And so if you need to have a lower budget for the months leading up to be able to capitalize on those higher CPCs and not have your campaigns run out of budget, that's one tactic that we've seen clients do as well.
Yep.
Cool. So this year's Prime Day ran for an extra 6 hours, which gave us the potential for another 20% increase in revenue from Prime Day. And of course, Jeff Bezos is so smart. He took the slowest time of the year and has created a successful event out of it with Prime Day. And so if we scroll to look at my actual numbers for my own business, for Think Crucial, right, our average sales increased 3%, and this is all without a lightning deal. We actually experienced a 20% increase in revenue from the year before. Meanwhile, our units ordered increased as well. And surprisingly, and this is really, really interesting, is our B2B shipments increased dramatically. And so this is just going to Seller Central on the 3P side, going to the Reports tab and Detail by ASIN to look at some of these numbers. And so all in all, it was a dramatic success for us. We've been really focusing, just a little nugget here, we've been really focusing on our price points and not making sure that we're the lowest on the block, because we try to have a premium product, and that's a lot of times conveyed in our pricing, which is why you see that ASP increase, the average selling price increase of 3%. So moving on to the next slide here. We also were analyzing, and this is very, very important, Amazon heavily weights your conversion rate. And so our sessions, which is the amount of visitors that were coming to our pages, increased 5%. Our conversion rate, which we've been actually working on, increased 2% during Prime Day. And simultaneously, while all this is happening, we have been expanding our SKU counts, making a lot of kits and bundles. So our listings increased 13%. But most importantly, that I want to focus on, which is most heavily weighted, is the sessions to conversion rate, the amount of visitors that are coming that are actually buying off of our page. So just making sure you're getting you're actually optimizing your pages well in advance. You're taking these results and just doubling down on what's working for you for the fourth quarter. Super, super important. I was just surprised at these poll results where 60% of the people haven't taken their Prime Day results and actually brought them into the fourth quarter. Lao Tzu once said that most wars are won before they even begin. And so you have to start thinking and strategizing about the fourth quarter, like in this very moment, in this very second. And that's why I think it was great that you guys are hopping on today to join us for this webinar.
Hey, Chad, so I know you wanted to launch another poll in regards to budget and ACOS. Still relevant? You want to do it?
Yeah. Let's do it real quick.
Okay,
Absolutely.
cool. So now we have a poll question I just launched for you all. Basically just wondering if your budget and your ACOS has gone up simultaneously this year. So ACOS, for those of you that aren't familiar, is advertising cost of sale. So it's, I believe, Chad, you can correct me if I'm wrong, it's your ad spend divided by your total sales. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay,
great. So we have the poll in progress, and I will shut it down now so Chad can get to that good stuff. Oh, it's growing, it's growing. So I'm going to close it, and I'll share the results with you, Chad, with you all as well. 63% in the audience said yes, that their budget and their ACOS have simultaneously gone up this year, where 37% no, have not seen this, their ACOS and their budget being affected simultaneously. So that's 63% yes.
Wow. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised though. Anybody else?
No, absolutely not. That sounds right on par with things that we've seen definitely on our end at CPC.
That's crazy. So I think that actually outlines the next slide. It's very, very important, is that everybody's spend is going up, their budgets are going up. Of course, Amazon is making more money, right? Which is what they want. And Amazon is great at telling you what you make, but they're not very good at telling you what you keep. So it's really, really important to like be data driven in this environment as things start to get more complicated on Amazon, right? It used to be that you can just create a product, make a lot of money, list your product on Amazon, get ranked organically, harvest the right keywords, and you're done. And now things have really changed. So one of the things that we've been doing internally is we've been developing like our own sensitivity analysis. So this is just a template example, right? Just understanding when you actually change different variables in your business, for example, ACOS, what the output is if all things remain consistently constant and equal. So trying to be very, very data-driven in this environment, that's how the strong will survive in this environment. It's not just about getting an edge up on people on your listings anymore, or on your title, or on your bullet points, or on your photos. You need to be data-driven, and this is one example of how we're doing this today. Another thing is that we're doing is we're making sure that our bids have statistical relevancy. So before Prime Day, like just looking at January, February numbers, you can see here that for what we're spending to what we're making on sponsored ads, you can see these blue dots that are spread out on this graph here. That means that there isn't a high correlation between what we're spending to what we're making. The idea is you want to get as close to what you spend and what your revenue is as much as possible. So the R squared, this is an R coefficient, is 0.19, so there's a 19% correlation, which is not very strong. So then we started actually even digging in deeper, right? Understanding, okay, well, let's double down on the stuff that's making us the most money. And as you can see here, we've increased our R coefficient to 62%. So you can see there's a lot less scattered blue dots, and they're more closely correlated to this red line right here, which is actually what you want. And trust me, most of the people on Amazon today are not actually doing this. And we're going to see a lot of Amazon sellers going out of business because, again, they don't know if they're making money, if they're spending money to actually make money, or they're just spending money to spend money. Another thing that I want to point out here is you have to have targets that you want to hit. Whether you're using CPC strategy or not to run your ads, right, you need to make sure you're setting up targets of where you want to be and try to manage to those targets. It's super, super important. And I think that's how real success will be measured over the long term for a lot of these seller accounts, is are they actually managing towards the targets based on the sensitivity analysis that they're doing and based on what they're spending to what they're making. Now, don't get caught up. Here's a little nugget. Don't get caught up in going after cheap keywords, right? Just because you're going after cheap keywords means you're getting a lot of clicks, and Amazon sees those clicks. And if those clicks aren't actually converting, you have a problem. So you want to double down on keywords that are actually converting and be driven based on data.
Yep, I'm really glad, Chad, actually, that you mentioned that, because that's the best practice definitely that we implement at CPC, is just like what Chad is saying, guys, really, really make sure that you're doubling down on those keywords that you are getting conversions on, whether it means going in your auto campaigns and increasing bids, or going into manual campaigns and increasing keywords that you actually are getting great conversion on at a profitable ACOS. But on the flip side, adding negative keywords to your auto campaigns for search terms that you're getting a lot of clicks for, but no sales coming back, that's what we call fat. So you want to trim that fat and get rid of those because they're not adding anything to the pot and they're just increasing your ACOS overall. And like we said, we don't want any companies or any businesses to go out of business, anything like that. You want to make sure that you're conscious of the margins that you've got on your products and that you have an ACOS target and a revenue target in relation to how profitable you can be on the products that you are advertising.
Completely agree. Karen, anything to add?
Yeah, I think that that's essentially the meat and bones to it when it comes to dialing in those sponsored product ads, especially when you're getting closer to something like Black Friday, Cyber Monday, really taking a look at what worked and what didn't work. It's going to be more important because you're going to be spending more. There's going to be more traffic, there's going to be more clicks. So really making sure that you're utilizing the data that you can get through Seller Central and just making, or through AMS, and just making sure that you're making the best decisions when it comes to that, and using the data to then utilize those keywords in the campaigns and just continue to grow those out.
Cool.
Great. So moving on to successful advertising tactics from Prime Day 2018. So just want to go over some things that we saw that were beneficial for our clients. So starting with implementing a custom deals tab. If you're going to be running any discounts, you can also consider creating a custom deals tab within your Amazon store. And you'll want to create this ahead of time just to make sure that it gets approved. I know that with wording, sometimes it can be a little tricky. So with that, you'd be able to make a custom headline search ad, which is now referred to as sponsored brands, which can lead to that deals tab. And then just as we were mentioning, using those converting keywords that have either performed historically well for you or got a lot of traction during Prime Day. And using this campaign will help customers know exactly what deals you're going to be running, and it'll also increase your discount exposure. And creating a custom deals tab is extremely user-friendly for any shoppers who are on the hunt for any of the best deals, and especially be useful for customers who are looking for all of the best deals from your brand.
Great. Yeah, and to add to that as well, guys, there is a new kind of feature that Amazon's recently released that you can take a look at and see where are these sales coming from. It's called Store Insights. That tab goes in there and you can see exactly, are people finding your headline search ad organically? Are they finding it through your headline search, or I'm sorry, your storefront organically? Are they finding your storefront through headline search ads? Are they finding it through other tagged sources or just other sources in general? Amazon now will allow you to see a lot of those metrics and break that down, and so you can figure out, okay, are people coming to my holidays tab? And if they are coming there, are they buying and how are they getting there? That's kind of been a black box previously, but that's something that Amazon's now made available, at least on the 3P and the vendor side.
Hey, Karen, I have a quick question that I know you guys have had to deal with. Just a quick clarification. We have a question here from Jeremy that's wondering if you can use the words deal and sale as keywords in your headline ad copies. I believe the answer is no, right? You get flagged for things like this, or can you guys expand on that?
Yeah, definitely. So we played around a little bit with it this year for Prime Day and just wanted to see what worked, what didn't work. And so the big thing we found was that setting an end date will help get some tricky ad copy approved. We didn't see sale or deal specifically get approved. We did see catch a deal get approved, and also saw save on, save now, save with your brand name get approved. But the big important thing was setting an end date there. That seemed to be the thing that got these ads approved.
Okay, great, good call out.
And just to piggyback on that, is that if you put in your listings different promotional messages like 100% satisfaction guaranteed, or deals, or rebate, or hot item, or bestseller, there's a huge laundry list of them, but those are flagged by Amazon, and they will actually de-index you for having those sort of keywords in your listing.
Yep. So make sure too, guys, that if you have anything like that, like what Chad's saying, like 100% guarantee, warranty, rebate, anything like that, even in the photos of your product description or product that you're putting into the headline search ad, that can get you disapproved as well, because that you're basically promoting that, even though it's not in the ad copy, it is in the images of the products that are going to be in there. So just be cognizant of that as well.
Great, thank you all for that clarification. Hope we got to your answer, Jeremy. I'll let you guys keep going.
Cool. Yeah, I think Chad's got a couple of storefront analytics to go through. This is kind of what we alluded to.
Aaron beat me to it. So this is I think this is just fantastic insight, something that you can get on the 3P side, where you can actually see what's driving traffic to your Amazon storefront. This is something that Amazon never gave out before. So now you have some keys to knowledge and some data to analyze, and I love data. The other thing that you can do is you can actually set up these source names if you're driving external traffic to your site and see what works and what's not working. I have a feeling that Amazon's going to be they're going to start doubling down on this and actually adding this to perhaps even listings for third-party sellers as well. So just stay tuned. But this is great insight that you can get, at least on a storefront level, especially if you're doing headline ads, where you can drive traffic from headline ads or even driving traffic off Amazon to your Amazon storefront page and get some deep data that you can dig through and see what's working.
Nice.
Great. So when it comes to any shopping holiday, obviously customers are going to be looking for the best deals. And we saw the deals page on Amazon had the most traffic throughout Prime Day this year. So we should expect to see that for the Q4 holidays that we're going to see with Black Friday and Cyber Monday especially. And Amazon will display a deal badge for products that have a deal running, whether it's a coupon, a lightning deal, deal of the day, or best deal. So obviously that'll help incentivize customers to click on your product. And you'll want to submit deals ahead of time for Black Friday and Cyber Monday to see if they get approved. And just a PSA, the submission window for these lightning deal submissions closes at September 21st at 11:59 p.m. So just be sure to submit those on time just to see if they get approved. And if they don't, you can always run a coupon. And so just some more information about a lightning deal versus deal of the day. So lightning deals are available to both 3P sellers as well as vendors. For 3Ps, they do have to be recommended by Amazon. For vendors, you can submit a lightning deal for any of your products, and they run about 4 hours or until all of the available inventory is claimed. And with these deals, you do have to submit them to get approved. And for deal of the day, this is an invite only for both sellers as well as vendors, and those run for about 24 hours. And those are also advertised on the deal page. And for vendors, you have slightly different coupon offerings or deal offerings than you do for sellers. So being able to select any product for a lightning deal, you also have access to best deals, which 3P sellers do not have access to. And then both 3P sellers as well as vendors both have access to coupons, promo codes, or price discounts.
Yeah, nice. All right.
And then creating ads with converting keywords. So Prime Day this year was 36 hours, so that's obviously a ton of data that you're going to be able to take a look at. And you're going to want to use the data as well as any historical keyword data to create campaigns with converting keywords as you get closer to Black Friday or Cyber Monday. And we want to make sure that our campaigns are customized down to specific keywords and products in order to drive sales and volume efficiently. And so we saw the average CPC increase about 9% this year for Prime Day. So you can expect to see an increase in the average CPC for Black Friday or Cyber Monday. So you'll want to make sure that you're increasing your bids for converting keywords anywhere from 40 to 70%, depending on how aggressive your strategy is and, again, how much budget you have to work with.
Yep. And remember, guys, to utilize what we were talking about with the Prime Day hangover at the top of the presentation, just talking about Prime Week, we're obviously going to have all those bids increase, like what Karen's saying, to make sure we have maximum visibility on those headline search ads, product display ads, and sponsored products. But what we're going to make sure that we want to do the following week, post Prime Week, is to make sure we really turn down a lot of those bids because we are going to be still dealing with an increase in higher cost per click just because the marketplace is going to be a little bit more competitive still. But we're not going to see the traffic there. We're not going to see the spend. So maybe last week during Prime Week, you were concerned with your ads showing up 24/7 to make sure you're getting as much of the pie as possible. But now it's post Prime Week and you don't need your ad necessarily showing up for, all those times of the day, 24 hours, 7 days a week for the week after. Mm-hmm. You definitely want to scale back and bring those bids back down.
Yeah, and one pro tip that we have here is you can always download a bulk file prior to creating any new campaigns or increasing bids and budgets. And what you can do following the shopping holidays in Q4 is just upload that bulk file, and it will return your bids and your budgets back down to where they were previously.
Great. Yep. Cool. So turn it over to Chad.
Yeah, this is just something quickly I want to focus on. A lot of people are focusing on maybe cheap clicks, and you want to really focus on the conversion rate. So doubling down on the stuff that's going to generate the highest conversion rate for your listing. It's not just because you'll have more quality sales, but on top of that, sends a signal to Amazon. So what signal is that, right? Well, if you're bidding on cheap keywords that don't convert, you're sending bad traffic. Bad traffic to listings is really bad, and you will stop showing on Amazon, especially in organic. So cheap clicks equals cheap traffic equals bad traffic. You want to stay away from that. Of course, the highest conversion rate keywords are typically the most expensive, so you should be definitely managing those on a daily basis. You can definitely do weekly depending on how many you have. You maybe want to even focus on keyword isolation. And you can get a lot of this data from your search term reports in Seller Central on the 3P side, so you can see what search terms are actually converting. So you want the bottom line here is you want your listing to show the highest possible conversion rate. Even when I actually are sending my team to go look at a listing right now, we never actually use the search functionality inside of Amazon. So typically we'll use the URL structure, which is the amazon.com/dp/the-asin. And that helps not send bad traffic to your listing. Again, it's all about how many people are coming to your listing that aren't converting that Amazon's looking at, because Amazon only makes the most amount of money when three things happen. You do sponsored ads or a headline ad, right? Then you do you have a coupon where you're paying for a coupon. And then you have FBA. Obviously, Amazon gets those fees from FBA, and then they make the most money when that listing converts. So just know that Amazon heavily weights your conversion rate. So keep that in mind when you're actually doing your sponsor, especially for the fourth quarter, as it's getting a lot more competitive.
Great. Cool. So yeah, so in talking about that, guys, we're talking about promoting new product launches. I know Karen and I both have a couple of insights in regards to this, but basically if you're launching a new product during Q4, you're launching a new product like we saw some of our clients do for Prime Week, is that the good news is it does help increase sales velocity of that new product. Amazon likes what people will buy. And so if you have a brand new product that you've pushed to the top of the SERP, maybe you had a coupon on it during Prime Week and it did really well for you, that adds to the sales velocity and the sales history of that product, and it increases it, which means it helps it out or in organic ranks under certain keywords, depending on the keywords that you got conversions on. So launching a new product during this time, it can be risky, but it is a good idea if you do it right. So if you're considering launching a new product, we definitely want to make sure that things to consider as far as that is coupons. Obviously, I think Karen actually has some insights on a campaign that she worked with where she launched a new product.
Yeah, so I had a client who did a new product launch on Prime Day, and we also supported that launch with creating some sponsored product campaigns for that as well. And it was a great idea just because naturally you're going to see an increase in traffic on Amazon during Prime Day or any other shopping holiday. So to us, it was a no-brainer to do a new product launch. And so with that, we saw a high velocity in sales just because they did have great brand recognition as well. And we also saw some reviews come through naturally at a quicker rate than we do previously, just with the increase in the fluctuation of the traffic that we saw that day. So overall, launching that new product was definitely a win for us and something to look into when there is a holiday on Amazon where you're going to see an increase in traffic, whether that be with Black Friday or Cyber Monday.
Yep. And also, if you're thinking about launching a new product, think about how your brand is already positioned currently in Amazon. If you're looking at your search term reports, if you're looking at some of your campaigns and noticing that you're getting a lot of conversion and a lot of sales coming from your branded search terms, so meaning you bidding on your own brand or you getting sales in your auto campaigns from your own people typing in your own brand and converting that way, that's a good signal to you to let you know that if you want to launch a new product during this time period, that's probably a good idea. Because people already know your brand, they know who you are, they're searching for you and actively buying from you under search terms based on your brand name. So if you're launching a new product or introducing a new product line, even a new child SKU or a new child ASIN to a parent, it's a really good time to launch it during Prime Day, Prime Week, and also in Q4, since you've already got a pretty good amount of brand loyalty there.
I have a quick question here from, oh, sorry, go ahead, Chad.
I was just going to piggyback on it. I mean, one of the things we're going to be doing through Accelerate is we're going to have a huge session on keyword harvesting. And I love the idea of promoting a new product launch on Prime Day or even in the fourth quarter. But there's two things that Amazon's looking at. One I've covered, which is your conversion rate, which is really your sales or revenue divided by your sessions that you can get from your 3P data. And the others is the 7-day moving average of your search term. So the more recency counts on Amazon, but it's per search term. But one of the things you want to start understanding is what is the search term that people are searching that's going to make you the most money that you want to start bidding on aggressively. And then secondly is, of course, you take that search term and you want to make sure you're converting on that specific search term. And we will go into a lot more detail at Accelerate, but that's just wanted to piggyback on this new product launch with thoughts around your keywords, because your keyword is probably one of the most important things that you can do on Amazon. That's where you should be spending most of your time.
For sure.
Yep.
Completely agree. I'm sure we all do. So I have a question here from Julie that's just clarification. Sometimes there are products that have this badge that say new. Are you familiar with these badges? Is there a way that you can get this sort of badge that will say new, or is that just Amazon will do it on random products that they see fit?
Yeah, that's an Amazon-driven kind of algorithm. So it's kind of the similar thing with bestseller under certain keywords or Amazon's choice. Those are things that is calculated through Amazon's algorithm. My gut reaction would tell me that any products that are brand new to the marketplace that are hot, those are the ones that Amazon's applying that new badge to, because Amazon, kind of like what Chad is saying, they make the most money when they get a sale, when they get a conversion, because they get a larger cut. So anything that's going to help promote that, like putting a new badge on it or something like that, if they're seeing a lot of sales history or sales velocity attached to that new item, Amazon will likely do it.
Got it. Great. Thank you for that clarification.
Yeah. Cool. So going into running deal of the day ahead of holidays. So this is kind of a two-parter. So if you're running deal of the day before holidays, we did see a growth percentage of about 3,433% year over year. It can also both increase spend and sales in regards to your retargeting campaigns you may have out there. So if you're on the AAP platform, or I believe it's Amazon DSP.
Yeah, demand side platform.
Yep. If you're running any sort of retargeting ads or anything like that off of Amazon, you will see lightly an increase in spend and sales both there. Deal of the day is something that we mentioned it's kind of an invite only from Amazon itself. You have to be invited in order to get and participate in that. But once you are in there, you're getting pretty great exposure from Amazon. You're getting pretty great exposure to users. They actually have their own tab that you can click on, I believe on the left-hand side of the Amazon homepage, where you can see all of those deals of the day. They do come with a little bit higher fees when it comes to those, but you will see an uptake in traffic and ad spend and ad sales from that. And if you are launching any sort of retargeting campaigns on those ASINs that are for deal of the day, because of that, you'll see an increase in spend and sales there for both of those.
Yeah, and so piggybacking off of that, so just taking a look at the traffic garnered by Prime Day. So with this, you'll be able to do some retargeting through AAP if that's something that you're going to be running. And so now it's commonly referred to as demand side platform, but still may be referring to it as AAP. So just something to keep in mind there. But what you'll be able to do is then retarget those customers who clicked on your product. You're going to see an increase in traffic there. And so with the 30-day look back, you'll be able to continuously target those customers in that loop, specifically for any of your hero ASINs or your hero products that do really well for you, or may have a longer sales cycle. This would definitely be something that would be interesting to look into.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, I mean, if you guys have anything running right now in AMG or AAP, or want to do something like that, that's something that we do at CPC. Is we want to make sure first that we have a hero item that is going to, it has a lot of sales velocity, a lot of sales history. It does well on its own, And effectively, if we have a Prime Day deal running on that product, or if we're running a deal on that product in Q4, we're bringing so much more traffic to that page because we're running a deal on it, we're promoting it in sponsored products, we're promoting it in AMS through headline search ads and product display ads. So now we're basically building out a large pool of people that we can then retarget after that. So if you're thinking about Prime Day, we now have a large pool of people that accumulated on that one ASIN, that hero ASIN that we were running retargeting on, because they are a large amount of viewers who viewed it, didn't purchase it. Now we have a larger pool post Prime Week and the week even after post Prime Week that we can now retarget for, or to retarget with. And same thing happens with Q4. If we have a hero ASIN, we're running a deal on it in Q4 around Christmas time, what we can do is take that large pool of people that looked at your listing during that holiday time and didn't purchase, and use that data to retarget them, at the end of the season, New Year's, or even going into Q1 of next year. Cool. So I think.
So going into some tips on what you can learn from your Prime Day data. So definitely want to make sure that we're taking a look at what worked and what didn't work for us here. And so just taking a look at how certain products performed. Did you have an idea of what you thought would work really well, but it didn't work really well, or you were surprised that certain products saw higher movement than others? So just really analyzing what you saw this Prime Day. And for bundles, if you're a vendor and you have AAP Premium, you can check in the market basket analysis to see if there were any products that were frequently bought together. And then you can use that data to then create custom bundles for the holidays. And then also when it comes to deals, any deals that you did run, just taking a look at how they performed and seeing if that's something you want to, again, mirror when it comes to Black Friday or Cyber Monday, or you didn't see performance do as well as you thought. So maybe seeing if there's anywhere else you can implement some of those coupons or those lightning deals, and just seeing what else works for you if what you had originally planned didn't work out well, as well as taking a look at what campaigns did well for you and ad groups and keywords. So where did you see the most traffic? Where did you see the highest conversion rate? Which campaigns worked well for you? Is there a way that you can grow on that strategy? Is there a way that you can take that and break it down to a more granular level? So there's lots that you can take a look at when it comes to performance during Prime Day that you can then use for Q4. And then we've touched on this quite a few times throughout the webinar today, but just making sure that you're taking a look at your bids. So were they too high during Prime Day? Were they too low? Did you need to be more aggressive? Did you need to pull back? Did you need to allocate more budget to your campaigns? So really just analyzing what you saw and then using this data to then create a strong strategy when you move into Q4.
Perfect. Yeah, so when it comes to products and
I was just gonna piggyback.
Yeah, go ahead,
Aaron. I was just piggybacking on what Karen was saying on bundles. Like I love kitting and bundling. I use a free website called Yasiv, YASIV.com, which allows you to put in an ASIN and you can see how frequently bought together works and what is Amazon linking with your product that's frequently bought together. Because I've read stats that about roughly 15 to 20% of the revenue generated on Amazon's platform is actually from frequently bought together and from that algorithm. So you can check out Yasiv, put in your ASIN, you can see any product that is related to your product, and then those products that are related to that product, and it can give you great bundling and kitting ideas, and also can give you new product ideas that you maybe want to move into as well.
Great. Yeah, no, I mean, I love that. Definitely that's something that we like to tell our clients to do. And even in this slide right here, definitely using products and bundles are usually what tend to do the best during that holiday season. So that's great.
Hey, Chad, can you repeat that URL? We have a few members in the audience asking for you to repeat it.
Yeah, so I believe it's called Yasiv, YASIV. It'll show what people bought, like who bought this with this. So it's YASIV.com. It's free. You throw the ASIN in there, and you can literally see this massive giant web of how people purchase your product and what are some like products that are very similar and how they find your product through Amazon's database. It's like a huge giant web.
Great, thanks so much.
Of course.
Thanks, cool. So we're going to talk a little bit more, guys, about making products and deals that are going to entice shoppers during Q4. Now that we've kind of gathered a really good amount of learnings from what happened during Prime Week and Prime Day. So as far as products go, we want to make sure that you're running promos, lightning deals, coupons, on those best sellers, on those products that have a lot of sales velocity, a lot of sales history. We usually like to make sure that our clients do not use Prime Week or don't use Q4 holiday season as kind of a dumping ground for excess inventory. Amazon's going to look at those products that have no sales velocity, no sales history, and applying a coupon to them is great, but will they get pushed to the top of the SERP and get maximum exposure and placement and garnish all and gain all sales? Probably not. So those that have a lot of sales velocity, those that have a lot of sales history, those are your heavy hitters. Those are what you want to lead with and add promos like lightning deals, coupons. If they're invited on deals of the day or lightning deals, add those in and then run sponsored products, headline search ads, product display ads that go along with those products. I think that's usually our best strategy there with those. Also thinking about types of items, so big ticket items or high AOV items like electronics, fireplaces, anything like that that's specific to Q4 or just electronically oriented, usually are the deals that most people search Amazon for. So we found just in the clients that we work with that fall into those verticals usually tend to do the best during Q4 if there's a deal applied to those. So shoppers are obviously going to look around for competitive products with deals when it comes to the type of products that you're advertising. So look at the deals that your competitors were placing during Prime Day, Prime Week, and just know that likely they'll have a similar deal or take a similar percentage off of their regular price during Q4 and kind of mimic that. If you can beat it, do it if you have the margin, but just kind of use that as a learning as well as how much did people discount around you, and that's pretty much what you should be doing for Q4 as well to stay competitive.
Yeah, and just want to really harp on the being on time with the submission of your deals. Again, it's September 21st at 11:59 is when it closes. So add it on your calendar, circle it, highlight it, underline it. Just make sure that you're on top of that because you want to make sure that you're able to capitalize this holiday season and just really have a great Q4 utilizing the data that you saw from Prime Day.
Great, perfect, yeah. And so, yeah, make sure, guys, pro tips that we're running coupons for the day of. So if it's obviously Black Friday, Cyber Monday, make sure you're running coupons for those days specifically. I like to make sure that my clients are running a deal for Black Friday and then running a separate deal for Cyber Monday. So you kind of hit your shoppers from two different angles, run a little bit of a different deal and give some variety there. Running a deal the day before is a little bit better than running the deal obviously the day after.
Yeah.
That's pretty intuitive. If we're talking about Prime Day hangover, things like that, we don't want to be running a deal post Prime Day week. I mean, you can, but are you going to see as much traffic and return from it? Likely not. So stick to dealing, coupons or deals or anything like that the day of or even the day before, kind of drumming up some traffic to your pages. And then the last thing there is just a quick note on Q4 specific in general. Ads, you want to try to stop between December 22nd and the 24th. Amazon can't guarantee that a package is going to make it home for Christmas or for even Christmas Eve if it's ordered after December 22nd. So that's when we're expecting a really sharp decrease in traffic on Amazon for Q4. So we want to make sure we pull our ads back really aggressively then and then ramp those ads back up on Christmas, as a lot of people have gotten gift cards, more income, things like that, bonuses, all that kind of stuff, until probably likely the end of the year we'll see an increase in traffic on Amazon because of that. So Chad, I know you've got some analysis as well.
Yeah, and Aaron, I just had a quick question for you because I don't do that many deals, but yeah. Amazon looks back at your lowest price. Is it in the past 30 days before you submit a deal?
Yeah, so you look at your lowest price if you're submitting a deal for a coupon. For a lightning deal, it's a little different, but yeah, for a coupon, they do.
It's 30 days, and I think is it 20%? You have to be 20% of the lowest price. Is that correct?
I believe so. That is correct.
Okay, cool. All right, so inventory equals cash. In fact, in modern accounting terms, inventory is an asset, but it really is a liability. And it's even becoming more and more of a liability, especially if you're selling on Amazon now that Amazon changed the way that they assess your inventory storage fees. So inventory storage fees used to be assessed twice a year, and now they're assessed on a monthly basis. And so now they have this inventory performance index called the IPI, where you can actually start analyzing how much inventory is sitting there, what you're going to be charged, and whether or not your inventory position is at a good health at Amazon. So one of the things that we look at because it's very, very easy to grow fast on Amazon. Like your top line can keep growing and growing and growing, but the question is, are you growing profitably? Are you making money on Amazon? Are you actually keeping what you make? So you see a settlement every two weeks from Amazon, but how much of that is profit? How much of that is sales? Are you losing money on certain SKUs? So one of the things that I encourage, whether you use Skubana or not, is to have an idea, and this is profitability from Prime Day, is knowing, are you making money or not, so you can actually start deploying your capital at the right SKUs. So with Skubana, you can actually see your profit per SKU, per channel across your entire company with every single fee from Amazon. So you want to double down on the 80 Pareto principle, which is 80-20. 80% of your profit comes from the same 20% of your SKUs, but it's super hard to know because of all these different fees at Amazon. There's the pick fee, the pack fee, the short-term storage fee, the long-term fee, the return fee, your sponsored ad fee, your headline fees, all these different fees, and we collect all those fees so you can actually see where are you making money and how do you actually move the needle. If you actually double down on those SKUs and get more of those SKUs and sell more of those SKUs, how much you could be possibly making to increase the bottom line. That's really the focus I wanted to talk about, is increasing your bottom line is probably the most important thing. It's not just about top line growth, it's about your bottom line growth on Amazon, and then doubling down on those SKUs that are gonna make you the most money. And in order to do that, you need to have a proper system in place, and Skubana is the only one that I know that actually does it correctly. But anyway, I just wanted to share that with everybody, just knowing what SKUs are gonna make you the most money, especially during the fourth quarter.
Yeah, no, that's a great point, Chad. And that kind of goes to what we do with advertising, is you want to make sure that if you have a full catalog, hundreds, 500s, thousands of SKUs in your catalog, that maybe you don't need to put all of those into advertising. If 20% of those SKUs, if you're making up 20%, or 80% of your sales are coming from 20% of your catalog or 20% of the SKUs that you have. So that's something that we usually like to make sure we let our clients know, is don't advertise your whole catalog, advertise what's going to be profitable, what's bringing in the most revenue, so you can increase sales velocity and sales history on just those.
And one of the things that we do is, once we know what we're making money on with profit, and we split up our SKUs because we have so many, we have 1,000 different core SKUs, we have about 3,000 listings. We actually make ACoS targets per SKU, and we tier them into tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3. So we know exactly what we want to double down. So we don't just focus on our general ACoS, we look at ACoS per SKU.
Yep, that's fantastic. And that's a great advertising strategy that we implement, is breaking out campaigns based on that. So if you have, one product, obviously if you have a very diverse catalog, one product, maybe you can go up to a 30% ACoS because they have the margin, but the other one you can only do a 10%. Those shouldn't be advertised in the same campaign, and we separate those out and apply ACoS targets to those to make sure that you have a profitable ACoS by product.
Yeah, definitely. And then we utilize our technology CapEx here to then create custom bidding strategies to be able to support that as well. So we're able to say, okay, these campaigns that we want to hit a 10, 20, 30% ACoS, we can then support that with our technology as well.
Yep, that's great. Cool. So I just have a couple of notes, guys, on reviewing returns and feedback. Obviously, if you're going to be pumping up a lot of these sales, this is something we saw with Prime Day, Prime Week as well. If you're getting a lot of sales, you may take note of a high rate of returns, especially during the holiday season. A lot of those people just clicking and buying because maybe they needed a gift, or clicking and buying because they just saw it was a really, really hot deal, but it was more of an impulse buy. So just take note of that there may be a higher percentage of returns because of the holiday season, and a lot of those deals kind of flying out the window very, very quickly. And then as far as feedback, review your negative and positive feedback and use that to inform your content. If you notice during Prime Day, Prime Week, or the holiday season that a lot of people were purchasing your product, because of the deal, and maybe it wasn't living up to its expectation, take a look back at your content and see if it was because something wasn't right in your content that led them to believe it was something else. So optimize your product copy and optimizing your images as well, just to reflect a cohesive message. Cool. So Chad, thanks.
Yeah, so these are just what I was referring to, is all the different fees that are broken down in our platform, but you should be breaking down. If you want to do them manually, you can. We do this across every channel, across your entire business, but FBA pitch fees, your pack fee, your prep fee, meaning going to Amazon, either if you're labeling or not labeling. You have your return commission fee, that Amazon takes, along with the removal fee, destroy fee. All these fees you need to actually be taking a look at when you're looking at your true profit per SKU. And there's a lot of different reports you can be pulling this from. But at the end of the day, this is the kind of report that you want to have your ops people looking at. So you can see that we're taking into account every single fee on a SKU by SKU level, and we'll show your profit across that entire channel for a date range across all your SKUs, so you know exactly what you're making per SKU. And that's why I think it's a very, very important point to underline is that you need to have a system. You need to be a systems thinker right now to win in 2018 and 2019, because a lot of these quick, I would say, hacks at Amazon are starting to really expire. And they're going to keep expiring as Amazon starts to sort of move away from this wild, wild west atmosphere into, hey, we want to have really good sellers on our platform that are not just about gaming the system, but actually are here to build sustainable businesses. And so in my opinion, the way to win is to have a system, because anyone can copy a product, anyone can try to do the next hack at Amazon, but to have a system in place, you can't replicate it. It becomes a very defensive position to have.
Yeah, that's great. I can't tell you, Chad, how many sellers I've worked with that have no idea about the profitability really on their product and just say, what's the average ACoS for my vertical? And it's, well, it depends on the profitability and it depends on, you know, how much margin you've got on your product. So that's great that this software is available to be able to find that information.
Exactly. And I just want to say, with the most recent wipe that happened, the review wipe at Amazon,
yep.
Now, like, in your specific vertical, it's a great opportunity to leverage that wipe if your competitors lost all the reviews because they probably weren't doing the right things at Amazon, or they were doing incentivized reviews or doing something incorrectly. Now is a great time to capitalize on that, and you can actually capitalize on that with great listings and really, really good PPC strategy and a good system.
Of course. Cool.
Okay.
So I know we.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Karen, Aaron, Chad, thank you for going over everything today. I won't go into detail on everything that we just went over now because I know we're limited on time, but here's just a recap of everything we went over today. I know we went over some top performing tactics when it comes with working with our clients, and we know that optimizing and fine-tuning your Q4 campaign with strategies that will work is a tough puzzle to crack. So if you would like to set some time to schedule to speak with one of our experts in regards to what advanced strategies we use here at CPC Strategy as an agency, let me know. In a few slides, I'll let Chad speak towards Skubana and accelerate a little bit more next, but then after that, I'll launch a poll, and you can, chime in if you want to have an evaluation either with CPC Strategy and or Skubana as well. And of course, I'll make those results not known to the public. These will be private and only for Skubana and CPC to see. But I'll let Chad now introduce his offer and expand a little bit more on Accelerate as well.
Yeah, and one of the things I love about audits is you get an opportunity to essentially have somebody look under the hood of your business and show you how smart they are to win and earn your business. So I think that's a fantastic idea, and you'll see that audit coming up after I go through the slides. So Accelerate, I mentioned it before, it's 200 very, very large sellers in a room. 50% of them are some of the largest Amazon sellers, and 50% of those are these disruptive D2C brands that are just killing it, removing these large incumbents that have owned their industries or verticals for decades. And so please join us. This is a hookup that we have. It looks like, looks like I don't think I put the promo code there, but you can email me. How about that? Email me at chad@skubana.com if you want to get the promo code. The first 10 people to email me that want to come, that are available on October 3rd, will get this promo code. It's limited to the first 10 merchants. The other thing is that if you want to build a system, all you have to do is email me, I'm ready, in capital letters, and you get 15% off for the lifetime of your account. This is for new customers only. There's my email address, chad@skubana. Even if you just want to say hello, I'm always available. So please feel free to email me.
Okay, great. So Chad, I sent everybody your email, and now to everyone, I'm going to launch the poll question. In case you would like to schedule an evaluation, just click on the poll. And if you don't want to, totally okay as well. I know we're about to go over, but let's ask a few questions to our speakers. So first, I have one coming here from Marcus in regards to Prime Day. So he's part of the vitamins, minerals, and supplements vertical And he's saying that this vertical is not hugely affected by holiday surges, and I'm sure that that's not the only category that isn't affected by holiday surges. So he says sales surge for him in January. Do you think that these strategies would apply crossing into Q1? The strategies that you would apply from Prime Day to Q4 if you are in a vertical like his that might not see the surges in holiday, are these strategies that you can then use when Q1 comes around?
Yeah, definitely, Marcus. That's a great question. And so, just like you mentioned, especially for the supplement space, you really don't see that traffic start to pick up until Q1. So these are strategies that can be implemented any time of the year. Let's just say if you sell snowmobile products and Q4 is huge for you, or you sell more pool products and summer is huge for you. These are tips that you can take and utilize throughout the year when it makes sense for your business. But we just wanted to make sure to cover what to do for Q4, but this is definitely something that can be utilized in Q1, Q2, Q3, whatever it makes sense for your business and your vertical.
Got it. Okay. And then I have a couple people here, Sandy and Moses, that were asking the private label sellers, are there any specific Prime Day tips that you guys advise on that you think would do extra well with a private label seller by any chance?
Yeah, I mean, the good news is if you're a private label seller, you don't have to worry about kind of the buy box game and how that can affect your ads and advertising. The only note I would say is that if you do have your own private label, again, stick to putting your best foot forward, making sure that you're putting up products and running deals on products that have a really great sales velocity and great sales history already attached to them. Those are the ones that you want to be pushing forward, not old inventory, not excess inventory, anything like that.
Okay, got it. I have an inventory question here coming from Tim, and he's wondering, I guess, Chad, this might be better suited for you, but Karen and Aaron, if you have an answer to this, please feel free to chime in. If you receive multiple inactive marks on one of your SKUs, does it harm your account in the long run to continue relisting that product?
When you say inactive mark, I'm not sure what an inactive mark means. Suppressed? The listing is
So
suppressed?
he says the product drops below if his product drops below a 5% return rate, Amazon will mark the SKU as inactive. I don't know if you're familiar with this situation or if this is more of a niche situation, one-off.
Yeah, I mean, I would probably try to understand why the product is being returned and maybe even contacting those customers to understand what happened so you can actually maybe update your listings and be proactive versus reactive around the listing. Then I would probably let Seller Central know, even if it's the performance team, to just be like, hey, we understand that our return rate was this, and we're taking these preventative action items and steps to make sure that we take care of Amazon's clients. That's how I would address this.
Okay, great. And then I know we're run out of time, so I'll just ask, and we got a lot of questions here, just, the top tips from Prime Day for Q4. If you guys could all give, one tip to everyone here, what would you hone in on?
Yeah, I'd say the first tip definitely is to make sure that we are increasing bids at the right time. So making sure that before the holiday season happens, like at least a day or so before the actual holidays, so Cyber Monday, Black Friday, or even Christmas holiday shopping season, increase those bids. But please remember and be cognizant of that kind of what we saw Prime Week hangover. We're expecting a Q4 hangover. Especially December 22nd. Amazon can't guarantee that any orders will get to their homes on Christmas Day or Christmas Eve. So sharply pulling back advertising on that day and then remembering to increase advertising heavily again on the 25th, going through the end of the year.
Yeah, and to build off on that, I would say that it's important to make sure that you have a set budget in mind and figuring out if there's a way to work around maybe lowering budget in the months following so that you can have excess budget when it comes to Q4 or any other shopping holiday would be really important, just to make sure that your ads are getting full visibility throughout as much of the day as possible, and that if you are running ads, that you have enough budget to support the visibility for those as well.
Great. And Chad,
my suggestion would be, we went over a lot of these strategies here, is to be very data and system oriented at this point to win. And I think that'll separate a lot of the haves and have-nots in the fourth quarter of this year and beyond. So I would probably understand what's converting, what keywords are converting. I would understand what are the most profitable SKUs in your portfolio and double down on those. So look at your profit per SKU, look at your highest converting search terms, double down on both of those, and I think that'll set you up for success.
Okay, great. Thank you all. So unfortunately, we have run out of time. We kind of went over a little bit. Thank you for staying with us. That about wraps it up this time around. So thank you, Aaron, Karen, and Chad for crushing it throughout the presentation and with the Q&A. And a huge thank you to our audience. We understand that an hour of your time is extremely valuable, and we are so thankful that you chose to spend it here with CPC Strategy and Skubana. So this is Annalicia, and I'm signing off from CPC Strategy in San Diego.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.